Hello everyone and welcome to Adobe After Effects for post-production. My name is Adam. I'm a professional designer and video editor based in Casablanca, Morocco, and I've done work for brands such as Wondershare, FlexLip, and Animaker. Currently, I work as a video editor for a news channel and I use After Effects a lot in my post-production workflow. So I said to myself, why not make a class about it? So you're probably asking yourself, why not just do everything in Premiere Pro? So when it comes to rough cutting and moving clips in a timeline, Premiere Pro is a great choice. But when it comes to things like animation of text and videos, After Effects is the best choice. So this client, for example, I work with, they're really picky when it comes to animation. They're like, this is not too fast, this is too slow, this looks generic. So for me personally, if I want to control the keyframes and the speed of the animation, I have to do that in After Effects. So overall, when it comes to visual effects like rotoscoping or masking and animation, After Effects is the go-to software. This class is for beginners, but being familiar with After Effects may really help. So what are you gonna learn in this class? So you will learn the best way to make a round trip between Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects, to track moving objects, surfaces, and screens, to professionally replace green screens, black and white screens, to remove anything that you don't want from your footage, and finally how you can place the text behind the subject, duplicate it, or even replace any background. And I'm also going to be sharing with you guys my favorite built-in effects that you can use in your post-production journey. By the end of this class, you will be able to create magic by combining After Effects and Premiere Pro in your video editing workflow. Now, if you're ready, see you in the first lecture. So for the class projects, each lecture has its own project, okay? So I want you to go ahead and download all the files that you're gonna need for this class. And also, I want you to, after each lecture, go ahead and share a picture of before and after you apply the techniques in the projects gallery. And my advice, if you want to complete this class, is to do one lecture by one lecture. So you do, for example, one lecture today, you complete the project, you post it in the project gallery, you take a break, and if you can do another lecture today, it's fine. If you cannot, you can come back tomorrow and do another lecture. Just make sure that you post the projects in the projects gallery, you post like before and after picture. And if you have any questions, you can go to the discussion tab, ask me any question that you want, and I usually reply within a couple of minutes if I'm not sleeping. So go ahead now, download the files, get After Effects ready, and see you in the next lecture. In this class, we'll be talking about dynamic links, which means how you can move between Premiere Pro and After Effects in a comfortable way. So let's say, for example, I want to export this clip and this clip into Adobe After Effects. Now, there are a couple of ways to do that, but I want to show you the best way that will make the workflow easier. So the first thing you want to do is select both clips. Then you want to right-click, and then you can choose Replace with After Effects Composition, okay? Or you can go to File, Adobe Dynamic Link, and you can click on Replace with Adobe After Effects Composition. This window will prompt to save the project, so I'm just gonna give it a name. Now, as you can see right here, we have two layers that represent the two clips that we exported from Premiere Pro to After Effects. Now, let's go ahead and apply some effects. So for example, I want to apply the cartoon effect to the breakdance, increase the threshold a little bit. And right here for the cats, I want to apply some glue. I'm gonna reduce it a little bit and increase the glow radius a little bit. Now let's go ahead and add a text, because I have this preset that's only available on Adobe After Effects. Click here, I'm gonna type in cats. Then I'm gonna go to Effects and Presets. Type in Motion Array. Okay, now this one. So I'm gonna look for presets in here. And here we have it. I'm gonna click on U here so I can have the keyframes. And then I'm gonna select all the keyframes and then bring them a little bit to the beginning so the animation starts in the beginning. just gonna adjust this like here. Okay, anyway, now I'm gonna save everything, close Adobe After Effects, and as you can see, immediately the changes will apply to Premiere Pro. Now the play down is gonna be slow because you can see that red line, it means it's not rendered. So to render the clips in the timeline, press Enter plus Backspace. So once the rendering is done, you can see that the red line turns green. And if I play, it's gonna play smoothly this time. And you can of course go ahead and adjust, color grade, whatever you wanna do here. Now let's say for any XY reason you wanna go back to After Effects and tweak or change something. You can see right here under the project window, we have this untitled link that have been generated once we open the clip in After Effects. You can right click on it and then you can select Edit Original. Okay, and it will open everything as you left it before. And now let's say that I want to remove the glow, I don't like it. And I want to switch it with CC Glass Effects. Okay, and let's say I want cat to start here. Okay, here we go, click on save, close everything, and here you have it. You can see now that everything has changed in here, but we have to render again, so Enter plus Backspace, and it will render again. So as you can see guys, the workflow is pretty easy that way. So in this lecture, we've talked about dynamic links. You saw how we take the clip from Premiere Pro, we apply effect into After Effects, and then the effects are applied automatically to Premiere Pro. Up next, we'll be talking about 1D tracking and 2D tracking. In this class, we'll be talking about tracking. So we'll see 1D tracking and 2D tracking. Okay, so let's play the footage. And now what we want to do is just find a nice car that we can track. Something that won't give us any problems, okay? So this one right here, this black car, does look promising. There we go. So one thing to keep in mind, guys, is that you have to find the footage that will be easy to work with, okay? Because with some footage, it's going to be hard. Maybe something will get in the way, and then we have to do it manually. And then the results won't be as good as if it was done automatically. And so we're going to be spending a lot of time on the small stuff, on the technicalities. By the time you get to being creative, you'll be so tired. So this is why you have to find the right footage. Now let's go ahead and find the tracker. So it's right here. But if you cannot find it, you can go to Window and find Tracker. So I'm just going to undock it. Now click on the clip and then Track Motion. So now you can see that we're no longer on the composition video layer, we're on the layer window. Now, here's the thing. Once you click on track motion, you will get this track point. And the job of this track point is to track a specific object in a video. It could be anything. It could be a car, a guy, a bike, whatever. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this track point on top of the car that I want to track. And make sure you move everything, because here we have three elements that can be separated accidentally. You have the point in the middle, the small dots, the plus sign. We have the small bounding box, and we have the big bounding box. So basically, the small bounding box is going to go ahead and track the objects frame by frame. This is what we're doing right here, okay? We're telling the small box to track the car frame by frame, track the pixels of this car. See, I just moved this point to the middle. And the big bounding box means that the small one will trace the pixels, but within the limitation of this area that we just defined, okay? Like it's telling it to trace or track those pixels, but within this limitation. Okay, now let's go to option. And right here, I'm going to show you the best options to get best results, okay? So first thing first, we have RGB, which means you want to track the red, green, blue colors. You don't want to track the luminance and you don't want to track saturation. So luminance means light, saturation means the most saturated color in the video. Down here, you want to check enhance before match and you want to check subpixel positioning. And this one, adapt feature on every frame. You want to check it as well. And down here, you want it to stop tracking if confidence is below 80%. So if the AI doesn't feel too confident, it's gonna stop, and then you can continue or adjust things manually. Click OK. And now let's go ahead and click on play right here on the tracker, not on the timeline. I'm gonna click on space to stop, adjust the clip, and then click again play on the tracker window. Okay, so you can see it's done. All right, it's cool. So the car disappears. So right now, right click on this area, new, null objects, click on a video, then go to edit targets, null one, click on null one, and then click on apply. Apply dimensions X and Y. Okay. And now if we select both layers, click on U, you can see all the keyframes of the tracking. Now let's go ahead and bring in our titles. Put it on top. Let's position it accordingly within our vehicle. S for scale, scale it down a bit. P position, and then position it here. And then mode, we're going to change it to screen. Okay, and now the final thing is to parent the video with the null. And of course, you can have as many of these nulls as you want. You can track pretty much all these cars in here. If you want to have like, you know, create some sort of scene like Watch Dogs games if you play that game. Okay, we have a small problem here, but that's because the car disappears. Okay, so for me, the easiest way would be to just cut the clip short here, or you can of course just manually adjust the position of the title. So I'm going to click here, and then, I don't know, adjust it down here a little bit. Okay, looks better. F9. Click on play again. Now let's go ahead and try a more advanced tracking. So again, select the clip, put the timeline in the beginning, track motion, and this time I'm gonna check rotation and scale. You can see that now I have two tracking points that I'm gonna go ahead and adjust. So this one, I wanna put it, just a second, on the top. Here. Okay. There we go. And this one on top too. So basically, these two track points will go ahead and make our graphic looks like it belongs in the background. It belongs there. It's not moving with the camera. As you see, when I click play, the camera is like moving in. So if we add something in the background, like logo, something that's going to move within the camera, and we want it to stay fixed. Okay, we want it to stay still. Let's go ahead now and add the logo. There we go. And then scale it down a bit. Put it here. Okay, cool. Now we can leave it for a second. Let's go back to layer video, click on video, and now let's go ahead and trace or track these two track points. Analyze forward. You can see it's stopping. Check the options. Okay, continue, everything looks good. Let's go ahead now, add a null object. And same thing, select the video, edit targets, null number 2, okay. Select null number 2, apply, XY, dimensions. Select the logo, make it visible. Pair it to null number 2. S for scale, maybe make it bigger a little bit. Position, adjust it to the left more. Now if we click on play, you can see how the logo is now moving. So actually what the tracker is doing is that it is adjusting the position and the scale of the logo to make it look that way. So to recap everything, in this lecture we've talked about 1D tracking and 2D tracking. We did track a text to a moving car, and we did stick a logo to the background of the video to make it look like it's belong there. Up next, we'll be talking about camera tracking. And this lecture will talk about a more advanced type of tracking, which is 3D tracking. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the footage in a timeline. Let's just visualize the clip real quick. So I'm gonna cut it here around 8 seconds. Select the clip and then Alt plus right brackets. And then I'm gonna bring this thing here at the work area. I'm gonna trim it and then right click and then trim comp to work area. There we go. So now with the clip selected again, go to the tracker, and this time let's go ahead and track camera. Now, as you can see, it's gonna work as the warp stabilizer. It's gonna go ahead and track the footage frame by frame, as you can see here. Takes some time, but you have to wait. So sometimes the tracker may stop, and that's totally normal. Maybe you didn't purge your cache, or sometimes the computer is installing updates or doing a quick scan. That may affect the tracker as well, but most of the time it's due to students or editors not purging their cache. So go to Edit. If it stops, of course, go to Purge, and then all memory in this cache, and then make sure you purge all these cache right here. Oh my God, that's a lot that I need to purge. Okay, but sometimes I have a very interesting number in here. So that will affect After Effects performance. Okay, so make sure you purge from time to time. Okay, it's very important and helpful. It's almost done. Let's just wait a little bit. Okay, solving camera, and here we go. So now, once it's done, how do we make sure that everything went perfect, that the analyze was good? We come over here to advanced, and then right here, average error, we have 0.42, okay, which is fine because it's below half a pixel. So if it's below half a pixel, it's pretty good. If it's below 1 pixel, it's good. If it's above, then maybe you have elements moving right here in the video, and that's fine too, because once you have elements moving, what you can do is, for example, select these track points from the moving elements, and then just click on delete. It will reanalyze the footage and give you better results. Or you may try to check one of these boxes like detailed analysis or hide warning banner. In our end, we're not going to do anything because it's perfect. It's below half a pixel. So now let's move into the next thing. As you can see right here, we have two important things to keep in mind. We have the track points, which you can select individually, and we have target size. Okay, so both of these can be used for different or similar purposes. Okay, I'm going to show you now how to use the target points, and then I'll show you how to use one track points, in which case you can use one track points individually. So let's hover over these points and let's find a perfect target that will look good within our perspectives. It looks realistic, okay, like this one right here. So as you can see, a target is made of at least 3 points, okay, 3-point trackers. If you hold shift, you can select more like this. If you want to unselect, again, hold shift and deselect this one. Okay, guys, so once you're happy with this, right click and then set ground plane and origin. So basically what that do is that I'm just telling the AI of After Effects that I want this to be the plane. Okay, then I'm going to right click, create solid in camera. There we go. And now click on solid and then right click, generate, and then grid. If we play, you can see that it looks good. Of course, you can adjust the size of the grid as you wish. So we add in the grid to help us position our elements in the footage. Okay, it's very helpful to do it with the grid. Now I'm going to go back to projects, and then I'm going to bring the logo here. Make it 3D, into 3D space by checking this box. And then What you want to do here at first is just position the logo. So we have the XYZ we can use to position the logo within our perspective like this. Okay, so the most important thing here is just the X, Y, and Z that we need to adjust. Okay, it looks fine. Now, what we're gonna do is go to Track Solid, click on P, and then Control or Command C to copy the position. Go back to our logo, click on P, and paste it right here. Okay, so we paste in the position of the Track Solid to the position of the image. Yes, it's huge, but we can adjust it. So for example, we can see this bounding box. I will click, drag, and hold Shift, so I can drag with proportions. And now we have the size. Okay, just make sure that you don't adjust the position because we already copied the position of the Track Solid. Now, if we click on play, you can see how it stays in place. It doesn't move a notch. Okay, so let's go ahead and change the blend mode real quick, and maybe transparency, we will decrease it to 70. Okay, that will look more realistic. Let's go to the Track Solid and just hide it. Okay, now you can see that it looks good. And of course, you can redo the same process if you want to add another logo right here on the ground. Okay, and so now if we click on the image, we can always adjust the XYZ. Just make sure that you grab from the point. And of course, if you want to add another logo to the ground, you can do it. Same procedure again. Just click on the clip. Right here, go to Effect, select 3D Camera, and you can find another spot like this maybe, even though I'm not a big fan of this perspective, but just to show you how, like if you go here, right click, and this time what you're gonna do is just create solid and then copy paste position. Okay, same procedure. Another way to use the track point individually is that if you guys remember the date announcement for 30 Reasons Why, there was like those images still and the camera is moving. So just to show you, for example, I did the same thing with this clip, but just went ahead and tracked it. There we go, like this. Let's go ahead, select our plane. Okay, we have to select the plane first. 3D camera, let's just select the plane here. Okay, so we have to generate the camera first. Okay, the track solid in the camera, and then we can add our images to the track point. Okay, so let's move. Okay, so this point, for example, right here, I know it's small. So right click and then create solid. Now if we click on solid, we can find the track that we added. Next, I'm gonna go to projects, and then I have this image, 3D. We just put it here. And let's adjust the XYZ space just to make it look good within the perspectives. Like this. Okay, and now same procedure. Okay, copy the position from track solid to image. There we go. Click on play. You can see what I'm talking about, okay? Of course, we can do that here, whatever we want. So to recap everything, in this lecture, we've talked about camera tracking, and you saw how using the track camera, we were able to stick the logo to the background and make it stay there even if the camera is moving away from the background. Up next, we'll be talking about Mocha tracking. In this lecture, you'll learn how to track screens using the Mocha FX tracking. Okay, so first thing first, I'm going to go ahead and trim the video around here, 10 seconds. So again, Alt Option plus right brackets. Then I'm going to click N on the keyboard to reduce the work area. And then I will trim it. And here we go. So now with the clip selected, go to Effects Controls. Then I'm going to right click and look for Boris FX Mocha and then choose Mocha A. Click here. It's going to open a new program. Just going to close this. And then right here, we should have Work Essentials. So keep in mind, guys, that we use in the free version of Mocha, the ones that comes in with After Effects. There is a pro version, which is quite expensive to be honest, but it allows you to make more selective tracking. For example, you can track faces, add makeup and tattoos to it. It's actually pretty good, but the cost is expensive as well. So what we want to do here, first I'm just going to select this zoom tool and zoom in a little bit. Click and drag. Now I'm going to select the S-spline. So we have the pen, the rectangular, and then we have the elliptical S-spline. I'm going to choose the rectangular S-spline. Obviously, because we have a rectangular screen. So click here. Then I'm going to trace like this. And the S-spline is to actually tell the program that we want you to track this area. You can, of course, always adjust it like this. From these points, it's pretty easy to adjust. Next then, we want to select the Show Planner surface. Click, and then we will adjust it to the green screen. Now this is to tell the program that this is the area where we want to put our image or video. So basically, this blue thing will give us the corner pen data. So I'm just doing my best right here to adjust it. So once you're happy with the selection, make sure you have track motion options all checked, even perspective. And then we have the playhead not in the beginning, we have it here, so we can track backward. Once it's done, we can track forward. So once the tracking is done, you can tell about these blue keyframes right here on the timeline. Control Command S or click here to save the projects. And then we can close this, okay? Now let's go ahead to the project and add our footage to the timeline. Okay, so you can see right here that the video is not the same size as the composition, okay? We can right click, transform, and then we can fit to comp. And you can see right here that the video is distorted, and that's totally fine because sometimes even though it's distorted, once we put it on the screen, it goes back to normal. And sometimes not. Okay, so we have to try. So right click here, this is the first method. And then we want to pre-comp, okay? We always have to pre-comp in order for this to work. Click on Move All Attributes into New Composition because we want to move everything as we adjusted it here. And now go back to the video, Effects Controls, open Tracking Data. Create track data, layer number 1, okay. And then right here where it says export option, select corner pen. Okay, this is the blue area that we marked earlier. Layer to export, we want the pre-comp that we just created. And of course right here, we can leave it source. Apply export. You can see that it looks good right now. Okay, it looks perfect. Now for the other method, as we just click on S for scale, scale the video like this. And again, pre-comp. Select the video, go back to Effects. Create track data, okay. Corner pen. Selection, apply exports. So it works fine as well. So it's going to depend on the type of footage you're working with. So now we have two techniques. Now, if we click on a pre-comp, we can of course adjust the corners as we wish, okay, in case we want to. In our case, it looks perfect, no need to adjust. Okay, so if we click on play, Okay, you can see it's working fine. And of course, we can do this for everything. We can track everything. For example, if you want to add a text to the screen, it's simple. Let's go back to projects. I'm just going to create a null. And then I'm going to add a text right here. So now go back to the video, to effects, click on create track data. Day number 1, okay. And then this time we're not going to do corner pin because we want to track the text to the screen. We don't want to put it inside of the screen. So we will choose transform. Then right here, null number 1. Click on apply export. I'm going to go to the text, T or P for position. Just adjust it here. And then pick whip it to the null. Click on play. Okay, you guys, and here you have it. So to recap everything, in this lecture you've learned how to track a video inside of a screen using the Mocha Effects plugin. Up next, we'll be talking about green screen. Now I want to show you guys my best tips and techniques for removing a green screen using the key lights. So this is, for example, a good green screen. Everything is perfect, high pixels, well lit. It's very professional. So I'm going to come over here to effects, look for key lights, and I just want to show you guys how easy your life can be when the filming is done properly. So with the key lights, put it on a clip. Now what I'm going to do is just play everything real quick. Okay. So click on the eyedropper tool and then just select like this, the green screen. And now you can see that with just one click, we have a pretty nice result. You can leave it like this if you want, but you can see it's a pretty nice, amazing result. Okay, even the hands, they're moving and they look clean. Now let's go to view and then we can change that to screen matte. And this is how you know that the keying was done right. Okay, you want to have the subject pure white and you want to have the background pure black. Okay, you don't want to have, I don't know, something like this. Okay, you want to have everything perfect just like this. Okay, let's go back to final results. And now if I zoom in, you can see that we still have just a little bit of green edges. We can fix that easily. So again, go to effects and then we want to look for advanced spell suppressor. Okay, this one. Not this one, but this one. Okay, it has to say advanced spell suppressor. You put it here. And then it's going to go ahead and pretty much remove everything automatically. You can see that we have already better results. One more thing we can do. If I go to screen matte, right here we have clip black. If I increase it a little bit. Okay, you can see that it removes also the green from the edges. Here's without clip black and here's with clip black. Okay, that was too much. Let's dial it down. So make sure you guys have transparency checked. Okay, and I think we have right here a pretty nice. Okay, now we can click here, project, so we can add the background. As for scale, I'm gonna add a keyframe here, move it here, add this thing here like this. Okay, click on F9 for the easings, adjust the speed graph. I want it to start fast and end up slowly. Okay, I think I did the opposite. So this one here, this one here. And then right here we can add the other one, the other background. Okay, and this time I want to adjust the position a little bit. Okay, we're just gonna scale it a little bit up so we can play with the position. P. And same thing, select both, F9. Easy ease in. And let's look at another example done with a very bad, unprofessional green screen. Now, I know what you're thinking, you guys. You're like, we're not gonna always get a professional gig, a professional green screen like this, but if it's too bad to work with, we can use another technique. So now with this green screen, you can see that it's not professionally done. So first thing first, what I'm gonna do is select the clip, and then I'm gonna mask from here. So at least cut this area. Now same thing, I'm gonna go look for key lights. Okay, so key light 1.2, put it here. Now if I click here, pick the color, same technique. Let's go to view, screen matte, and you can see that this is a bad selection. You can see that the black background is not perfect. It has some white stains on it. And you can see that the subject is not pure white, so we still can see some gray in this area. So let's open screen matte and let's try to fix that. So for example, I decrease the clip white like this. Okay, you can see it looks perfect now, but we have more whiteness on the background. So all we can do to fix that is click on the screen color, then maybe adjust it like this. There we go. Click OK. Let's go back to final results. Okay, you can see that it's not that perfect. The skin looks like it has some noisy shadows on it, or some noise, like it too much. Let me just add a new solid. Okay, let me make it blue. Put it here. So you can see that's right here. We removed the parts of his chest as well. Okay, when we were doing the key in, that's because the t-shirt has almost a similar color to the background. This is why you have to be very considerate of the footage you're working with. Okay, so there is nothing pretty much that we can do to fix that. Besides maybe play a little bit, I don't know, we can bring back the whiteness a little bit like this. Can maybe change the color here, bring back a little bit of the shadows. But anyway, the results are not going to be perfect. So I know what you're saying, okay? We're not going to always get the perfect clip. So if the client doesn't give you a perfect footage, you have to explain to them to not expect a perfect post-production result, okay? And also for this case, what I would do personally if this doesn't work is that I will go ahead and use rotoscoping. And we'll talk more about rotoscoping in the upcoming lectures. So to recap everything, in this lecture, you've learned how to use the key light to remove green screen from a video. Up next, we'll be talking about removing black and white screen. In this lecture, I want to show you guys how to completely remove a black and white screen. I'm going to go ahead now and view the footage because you always need to view the footage before editing it. Okay, we have some reflections in here. So there are two ways to remove black background. Okay, the first one is using a blending mode with a combination of curves. So for example, right here, if I go to mode and change it to screen, create new and add a solid. So you don't see anything because we don't have something to blend it with. This is why I need to add a solid. You can see now that we have a pretty good result. Okay, let's try linear Dutch. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave this with screen. So your choice. And then we can add curves from color correction. And maybe adjust this thing a little bit. Okay, the only problem with this is that you don't really have a transparent background, you don't have an alpha channel. Because if I go ahead and remove the solid, it goes back to black, okay? So how do we really create transparency? How do we make this video transparent? Let's go ahead first and delete the background and then delete the curves effects. Now under effects and presets, I'm gonna look for shift channels. Put it here. Right here where it says take alpha from, I'm gonna switch to luminance. You can try lightness as well, but I think that luminance works best, and it also depends on the type of footage you're working with. So always, you can try some other options to see which ones works best. So now as you can see, we really do have a transparent background. Now I know what you're thinking, that's not a good result. We're not done, we can always add, remove, color, matting, okay? And then right here, if I click, I can change this a little bit. Okay, maybe like this. Now, if I go back to projects, I can go ahead and add this image as a background. I'm going to scale it down like this, and then I'm going to scale the video down like this. And as you can see, the black background is really gone, okay? There is just the alpha channel. You can barely see the difference between the background and the foreground. So now what I'm going to do is just position the video on top of this glass thing. And then I'm going to look for another effect called optics compensation. Put it on top of my video. Increase the field of view, because I want it to look like it's inside, it's happening inside the cup. Adjust the position. Now, if you think that this is too transparent, of course, you can always go ahead and duplicate the background like this. Okay, then we can comp the background, pre-comp. Looks better now, that is pre-comped. Position, we can always adjust it like this. Okay, and as you can see, this is an okay result. Of course, now we can add curves to the pre-comp. Maybe let's see how we can adjust this. Okay, so of course we can do more work on this, make it looks perfect, etc, etc. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it in here and probably cut here, because right here we can see transparency throughout the lemon. So let's just cut it here. Select both clips and then Alt Option plus right brackets. Okay, it's gonna cut the clips, leave it here. So you can see that with just these random footage and image, we were able to create something beautiful. And usually this thing is done with 3D to make it look more realistic, but you get the idea, okay? So now let's see how we can work with the white background. I'm gonna bring this butterfly, put it up here. Adjust it here. Escalate down a little bit. So again, two techniques that we can do. We can either go to blend mode, then multiply, and then we can adjust the color with the curves. This remains the easiest, simplest way. There we go. Now you don't see the edge of the white background. It does look blend in. Or of course, we can do the same technique that we did with the black background. So let's start with shift channels. This time I'm going to choose hue and then remove color matting. Click here on background color and then play a little bit with the spectrum, see which one looks better. Okay. And maybe we can duplicate as well. Let's see and pre-comp them. And then here you have it. Of course, you can add now curves and adjust it as you want. But again, I'm showing you these two techniques, and of course, it's gonna depend on your needs, okay? Maybe you just need to blend, and maybe you really need to remove the background. So to recap everything, in this lecture, I've shown you guys best options to remove a white and black screen. Up next, we'll be talking about rotoscoping. In this lecture, we're going to be talking about my favorite tool so far in After Effects, which is rotoscoping. And you can do amazing things with this tool. So let's see how you can work with that. So the first thing you want to do when working with the roto brush is you want to double click on the clip in the timeline. It's very important because then you will enter the layer mode or the layer window. If you don't do that, if you don't double click on the clip on the timeline, the roto brush, it's not going to work. Even, if you select it, you see that? It doesn't show on the screen. So you have to double click on the clip to be on layer mode. Now, once you are in layer mode, you probably want to resize your brush depending on the subject that you have. So to do that, you need to press Ctrl or Command on your keyboard and then left click, and you can either drag to the left to make it small or to the right to make it bigger. Now you can see right here that we have a pretty tough video to work with because first thing, this is a fluffy cat, and it's very hard to trace or to rotoscope fluffy objects or things. And second thing, you can see that the color of the cat is a little bit similar to the color of the background, which can confuse a little bit the system. So let's see how we can do that. Now, first thing first, I'm gonna drag the timeline because I want to find the perfect position for the cat. I want to find something where probably the cat is looking straight to the camera, so I can select everything. Okay, so I think probably here we can clearly see the ear. Now I'm just going to resize the brush a little bit, make it smaller, and then select the cat just like this. Okay, just left click and select the cat. Now here you go, nice selection. I can zoom in, reduce the size of the brush, and select this area. There you go. You can hold Alt or Option. The brush will turn red, and that means we can delete stuff. So anything that you don't want, you can delete by holding Alt or Option and deleting, just like this. There we go. A little bit here. So this is pretty much like painting. If you are used to working with Photoshop, this is like the same thing. It does take a little bit of time, but the results are totally worth it if you're not using a green screen. So this tool is pretty good for memes, VFX compositing, and stuff like that. So right here, we can delete a little bit. So the goal here is to make it look as good as possible, only using the roto brush tool without using the other tools yet. Select the tail. Right here, I'm going to make the brush smaller. Hold Alt and just drag here. Now to check the results, you may want to go ahead and switch to transparency, okay? So let's just toggle the transparency grid. Sometimes even though it's on, it's not going to work, so you have to toggle it back on and off. And you can see that we have some pretty good results, okay? This is not perfect, but it's really good. Now the next thing we're going to do here, because as I said earlier, this is such a fluffy cat, we need to refine the edges. And the way to do that, we can come over here and then select Refine Edge tool. And then probably I'm just going to go ahead and trace my cat because it's all fluffiness. So just to let you know, guys, I'm used to painting in Photoshop because I started and I'm still a graphic designer. So this is for me is like a normal day in the office. You see, for example, right here, we can switch real quick to the brush tool and select this area. There you go. Go back to the refine edges. Now basically the refined edge, it does exactly what it says. It's just gonna go ahead and make the edges more smooth and more refined. Okay? If you make a mistake, you can just Control Command Z, or you can again hold Alt or Option and delete a little bit of the refined edge. Okay? Let's see how it looks now with the refined edges. So as you can see, I switched to mask, and then I switched to rotor brush and refined edge so I can see the transparency. You can see that now that we use the refined edge, we have a pretty good selection, actually. Okay, I think the results are almost like if you are using a green screen with this cat. Pretty good. Now, real quick, I'm just gonna go back to the rotor brush tool, and I'm gonna look and try to just fix the areas where I see like too much green. Like this, I can fix. Here, and I think we're pretty much, oops. I think we're pretty much done here. I think the results are amazing. Now, what we can do is just hold Control or Command, and we can move like frame by frame just to see if everything will play nice. I know it's gonna take like a lot of time to check that. If you're doing this for a client, you know, you have to check frame by frame to see if it looks good. You don't want to get humiliated with the client. So even though it's a tedious and very long process, you have to do it because your pride is more important than the tedious process, okay? And also, if you're a video editor, what do you expect? You know, this is your life, frame by frame. You know, your life is not easy. Actually, you don't even have a life. Spend the whole day doing this kind of stuff. And also you can see right here, when you move frame by frame, you have this green thing. That means it's processing as you move. And also you see right here, the solid color, this is the duration of the clip because the clip is 45 seconds and we cut it short for this tutorial. Okay, so once you do that and you're happy and everything looks fine, you can go ahead and click on freeze. Now it's important to click on freeze because it's gonna stop the rotor brush from analyzing the footage every time you move the playhead in the timeline or every time you add or adjust any effects right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final results. Okay, it looks good, not bad. It looks really good. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that you cannot make adjustment right now with the rotor brush or the refine tool brush because it's frozen. Okay, if you want to make adjustments, you need to unfreeze. And to do that, you just click here again and it will unfreeze the brush. And let's go ahead and adjust the brush options right here. Okay, so let's add a little bit of feather. And then we can smooth the edges a little bit too. We can decrease the shift edge, and you can see as we do that, we have a nice edge. Okay, no more green. You can check use motion blur, so it blurs any sudden movements of the cat. And you can also check decontaminate edge colors. And I think we have a pretty good result. Now we can literally put this cat everywhere. So let's go back to the project, double click on the comp. And what you can do, for example, is you can duplicate the clip like this. And we can, for example, bring some background like this behind the cat. Pivot position, adjust it, scale, increase it. Use a blend mode. Maybe animate it. Add F9 for the ease-ins. And here you can see we'll have a beautiful animation. You know, it looks like a holy cat right now. So it's still rendering, it's slow because we're recording and everything. You can also add a text behind the cat, like this. Select the type layer, put it behind the cat, pivot position. And just make it look like it's on the ground. You can also add a drop shadow on the text to make it look more realistic. S for scale. And it just increases the space between the characters like this. Okay, so you guys get it. You can be as creative as you want. Okay, you can also, for example, take the clip of the cat, duplicate it, Control Command D, you know, and make it look like there are two cats. Okay, so if you offset the clips, the cat will have offset movement, so it looks like you have two twin cats. Oh, so cute, twin cats. So to recap everything, in this lecture, you've learned about rotoscoping. And you saw how with the roto brush, you can remove anything from the background, no matter what kind of background you're working with, and how you can place things behind the subjects in a video using the roto brush. Up next, we'll be talking about the content-aware fill. So let's say, for example, you shot a video of a beautiful scene, but you have people in it or objects that you shot by accidents, and you want to remove that. So in this lecture, I'm going to show you how we can do that using the content-aware fill. So we have the clip right here, and let's say, for example, we want to remove the people and just keep the view. So first thing first, to make sure that you get the best results, you must make sure that there is no color grading change in the clip. For example, it's one color through the entire clip. There is no color change whatsoever. And the second thing is that you need to make sure that the object you're trying to remove, or the subject, does have enough contrast from the background. If the subject in matter is too blended with the background, it may make it a little bit difficult. Like you can see here, for example, her coat is a bit the same color as the sands, but that's fine because her man is wearing all black. Now the first thing here to do would be to check the pen tool, and then you want to trace a mask. Make sure you have a roto bezier checked. Okay, this will help with the curves. It's going to create curves naturally instead of adjusting them with the anchor points. And you want to make sure that the mask is super close to the subject. Something like this, okay? Of the bounding box. I'm going to change the color of the mask because I can't see it. Okay, this is better. So you want something very close to the subject. I'm just going to change this thing, add to none. And now we're going to go ahead and open the tracker. Make sure you have mask path selected. And where it says method, you want to have position. So we have a lot of options, position, rotation, blah, 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 blah. Face tracking, we're not doing any face tracking here. We want to track the position. Now click on track selected mask forward. Okay, I'm going to stop right here, the tracking, select the selection tool, and then just adjust the mask a little bit. So every time you see that the subject is about to leave the masking area, you stop with space and you adjust the mask. Okay, and once you do that, click on play. Don't click on space because it's going to play the video, it's not going to play the tracking. Okay, so right here, stop again, adjust. Stop here, adjust. Okay, and it's pretty much done. Now I'm gonna bring the playhead to the beginning of the clip like this. Right here, I'm gonna change none to subtract. And then we're just gonna play the video to see if there is something coming out of the masking area that we can fix. So right here you can see a little bit of the hand. So what I'm going to do is bring the playhead to the beginning, add a keyframe for mask expansion. Go back to the area where you start seeing the arm. Not the hand, it's an arm. Sorry, guys. And then expand the pixels a little bit more. Then you play. Okay, it's good. Okay, this is great. And again, you have to make sure that you switch the mask to subtract. Super important before you apply the content aware fill. Now let's go ahead. Window, content aware fill. So right here we have the window, content aware fill. We have alpha expansions, which means if I increase it, it's going to increase the size of the hole that we have right here. So in this case, we don't need to increase it much. Maybe leave it at 1. So right here under fill method, we have object, surface, and edge blend. What we want to do is fill the object, okay? I'm not going to check lighting correction because that's going to take forever. And also we don't have a lot of corrections to do. The clip has the same color gradient. And then range, we want work area. We want the entire work area to be included. Once you finish, you want to generate fill layer. You can choose a folder and then just give it a name. Save. And then you just have to wait right here. And now here you have it. A nice, clean shot. Now you can see when I move, you see the hole, that because it's still rendering, but overall, once I render that, we're gonna have a clean shot. So now it's done. And as you can see, it did create around 246 images to replace the hole. So now if we open the folder of the tracking, you can see that it created frame by frame fills to replace the hole. So to recap everything, in this lecture you've learned how to remove people from the background, and you can use the same technique to remove objects as well using the mask and the contents aware fill. And now congratulations, that was the last lecture. Congratulations you guys, you finally made it. Now you'll be able to create amazing magical videos by combining Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects. So of course I have a Premiere Pro course right here on Skillshare, you can check it too. And I want you now guys to go ahead and share your projects in a projects gallery so I can give you my feedback. Also make sure you follow me in case you like this class and leave a review so you have a notification when I post a new class. And also when you leave a review, it helps to show this class to other students that may be interested. So we covered everything from dynamic links to rotoscoping to content aware fill and all that stuff that you're gonna need in your post-production workflow. Thank you so much for watching and see you soon.